Hi, I'm George Nordhaus, and welcome to Monday Morning with Al Diamond. Today is the person that is presenting. He's going to be talking about keeping your agency relevant in a changing insurance environment. He should know. He's been around for a long, long time. We've been traveling together for different places and conventions and everything for something like 35 years since he's been a consultant. He was an agency owner. He owned 5 agencies. He worked for companies, worked for direct writers, regular companies, quote unquote regular, and he really knows it. And so he formed Agency Consulting Group. He was the guy that really kind of put together or helped put together the AIMCO, which is a consultants organization. Very interesting. At any rate, Al, welcome, and let's talk about keeping your agency relevant. What are you talking about?
Well, thank you, George. What we've noticed, you and I both, is that the face of the insurance industry is changing as our careers evolve. And this is happening for all, not only consultants, but all of the agents out there as well. And how do you react to this? Well, the old adage is you don't cook a frog by putting it in hot water. It'll jump out. What you do is you put it in cold water and slowly turn up the heat. The change is so gradual that the frog ends up cooking. And the change didn't take place in a short period of time as the heat went up on the frog. And the same thing with the insurance agency industry. Our changes didn't take place over a day, a month, a year, or even a decade. It's been taking place over an entire generation, beginning back in the 1960s and continuing unabated to today. And like the frog who's swimming in ever hotter ponds, most of us won't know how to react to the heat. It'll all seem normal to us until we're boiled and eaten. What we want to do today is to shock a few of us agents awake long enough to change our own environment. We're insurance agents. Frankly, we're more like frogs and eagles. We're not going to jump up and fly away. But we don't have to stay in that ever hotter pond. There are ways that we can survive and thrive outside of the artificial box, the form of agency that we continue to operate to this day. That change that has taken place doesn't have a value. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. There aren't any heroes or villains in this play. Every one of us in the insurance industry and every person or entity that buys insurance is a participant. There's really no use in us blaming the direct writers or the banks or in trying to change the attitudes of our carriers. We can be like Don Quixote and try to tilt windmills, but look at how successful that was to him. If we recognize that our business is being threatened, it really is up to us, each one of us individually, to solve our own problems or to move on. Only the most foolish agents will stubbornly keep doing what's most familiar until we cook like the frog.
And you and I are working all the time to stop that from happening.
We certainly are. The causes of this problem in the last 50 years or so range from simplified package policies, you know, the auto, homeowners, and BOP policies, to the advent and market manipulation of direct writers. The automation that we all are using now has brought us direct bill and internet communication, and even the technology that's made predictive modeling of rating and underwriting ever more accurate is one of the causes that put us where we are now. Mm-hmm. George, the direct writers have proven that all it takes to attract customers is a whole bag full of money and really good, innovative marketing methods, and they have both.
They have both. I was just going to say the same thing.
Absolutely. Automation has proven to everyone, frankly, rating can be done by the client himself with a few keystrokes, direct to a mechanical rater, or direct to an insurance company. They've been doing that with the life insurance for years. The modeling that has been made possible by automation is convincing carriers that they can predict loss data sufficiently to target the markets that will give them acceptable loss ratios based on the law of large numbers. That's especially true in things like personal auto. underwriters, and I don't know about you, but I came from the underwriting ranks when I started, they've become more functionaries and administrators more than they have risk selectors.
Yeah, we used to hate underwriters, but now you don't see them that often. I understand. We used to hate
No,
them because they were so tough on us, you know.
there were underwriters, and there were underwriting marketers, and there were marketing underwriters, and now there's still underwriters out there, but they are more following procedures than they are risk selection.
Right.
And certainly, along with the underwriters, every carrier is reevaluating the role and the need for independent insurance agents. In the past, agencies and agents were the relationship managers between the insurance buying public and the carriers. The carrier underwriters were the final and sometimes very arbitrary risk takers, but even then, insurance agents were expected to be the frontline underwriters, analyzing a risk for both objective and subjective factors, all trying to yield acceptable loss ratios to the carriers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why insurance companies started paying us profit-sharing bonuses to begin with. They're still paying them now, but if you've noticed, those percentages have come down. It's not as important, and I think they're trying to wean us off of that.
Probably.
But agents were also needed to produce, deliver, and manage insurance policies, to translate the needs of the client into the right form of policies, and to manage the client on behalf of the companies. Agents were always representatives of the carriers, even though, for the most part, they acted on behalf of the clients. And as processing and automation has moved forward, and the direct writers have proven that advertising and marketing and the re-education of consumers into believing that all insurance is a commodity, the carriers have proven that insurance can be sold without independent agents. Many of even our most traditional stock and mutual insurance companies have created alternative distribution systems already that would allow clients who desire independent agents to continue to use us, but permit consumers who'd like to access the company directly to do so as well.
Boy, there was a hassle when that went along. You know the companies, and I won't mention them here, but I can just remember the agents going crazy when this first came out.
Everybody was up in arms, and we tilted at windmills, and now we continue to write insurance with those companies, and the companies go direct as well.
Right.
Other companies are going to get into this, George. Over the next few decades, there are going to be more and more companies, even the ones who claim to be 100% for the insurance agency system, because it simply makes sense for them to sell in whatever direction the buying public wants to buy.
Mm-hmm.
The companies, George, they're not in the business of keeping agents alive. They're there to make their stockholders money and to serve their insurance buying public as well as they can.
That's a great saying. You're not in the business to keep the agents alive. I never thought of it in those terms. Wow.
We're just stepchildren to them, and hopefully very helpful ones, but we're not as much a part of them as their stockholders by any means. And so far, agents may be tempted to swallow the business end of a gun and do the honorable thing. Mm-hmm. That's why there have been so many mergers and sales into agencies into other agencies, and why so few independent agents are being created. Mm-hmm. It's truly a wondrous thing for us to see new people coming into the independent agency forces. I love to see that, but we're getting less and less agents out there.
Right.
I contend, though, that the difference between where we're being led and where we should be going as independent agents is the same difference as between lemmings blindly following the herd off the cliffs and insurance professionals actually defining the needs of insurance consumers and reacting accordingly. While the pricing and processing of insurance inevitably is moving toward automation, the concept of asset protection, protecting assets, is far from simple for individuals, for families, and certainly for businesses. If we redefine ourselves as insurance counselors for our clients, we'll again be valued beyond the fees that we charge for our services. George, our difficulty is in identifying and attracting the people who are smart enough to know that the concepts and products available to protect their assets have never been, is not now, nor will they ever be as simple as 15 minutes to save 15% or packaging boxes of insurance off of a shelf. You know, I'm here in New Jersey, my residence, although we serve the entire United States and Canada, and many people here on the East Coast after Superstorm Sandy found themselves pitifully short of real protection. And that kind of protection is, a professional insurance agent could have helped them, could have afforded them that protection. So whether we re-educate the consumer to understand the importance of insurance agents or wait for a negative experience for them to realize what they're missing, there'll always be an important segment of the insurance buying public that wants services of a real objective professional. So here we are. And in the short period of time that you've given me, I've come up with a few things that you can do to make your agency more relevant for the future. First one, eliminate the concentration on processing. Processing, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to go away as automation continues to make access to products and processing easier for customers. They're going to be doing their changes, their policy changes and renewals at 11 o'clock at night off their TV. Spend your time and your money and human resources as an insurance agency on knowledge-based education for your employees and on sales education for yourselves and all of your employees, not just your producers. You have to be both insurance experts and experts in the process of converting prospects into clients.
But they're not the process of processing.
Not the process. The days of clerical efforts, printing policies, keeping big files, they're going away. The second issue is stop selling and start consulting. And you've heard this many times recently. We've been saying it for 25 years. Once your customers are comfortable that you're like the family doctor, you're there to identify their illness, their problems, and cure them, not just to sell them products or services. Once they're convinced of that, you will become an insurance consultant instead of just another salesman. This isn't easy, and there are downsides as well as upside. For instance, the downside of doing that is it takes longer to gain a client's trust than it is to simply throw a low-price quote at them.
You know, go ahead, finish, go ahead.
But the upside of that is that if you do make that friend, you keep him forever while you lose those cost-conscious clients as fast as you get them.
Good point, and that's what we've done on these Monday mornings. The McKinsey report. Scott Addison and Roger Sitkin said exactly the same thing when they responded to the McKinsey report. If anybody's listening right now and hasn't heard that, go back to the McKinsey report on our archive and listen, because it's exactly what Al's talking about. Somebody else, Don Finn, the last week or the week before, whenever he's the head of HR that works. He said the exact, his whole program was how to stop selling and start consulting. And
well, I'm glad. The McKinsey report was very valuable, George. It proved that which we have been saying for the last 10, 20 years. You got to make friends, not customers.
Right.
If you make friends, they become your customers, and they become your customers for life.
Good point.
Now, the next thing is to adapt and adopt. And now I'm talking about technology and social media. And there are going to be a whole bunch of agents listening to this that are going to try turning it off right here. Listen, George, you and I both have been around for a long time. I'm impressed that you think I've only been around for 35 years. It's more like 45.
Yeah, but you've been around for 35 years as a consultant.
As a consultant for at least 35.
That may be a winner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you or me, but I don't feel smart enough to grasp all the concepts of technology and social media. And if there are other agents like me, do what I've done. If you're not smart enough, or you feel that you're too old to grasp the concepts of communicating with your clients and your prospects over the internet, find someone smarter or younger than you who can help you. I have 4 people working for me who are all 30 years younger than me, who are concentrated on specifically technology and social media. For instance, I mean, I drive. I know, George, you do. We don't have to know how to take a car apart to drive one. And none of us would consider giving up driving because the cars are becoming more and more automated. Why on earth would we consider giving up our businesses simply because they're changing as well?
Well, it isn't easy, and I want to be I want to echo that, because at my age, or any of our age, we were all unconnected. We didn't grow up with this. Everybody knows that, and it's a problem for me. I went to a full convention here in New Mexico the last few days, and that was the topic. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, I mean, it is really tough. I mean, I'm learning all the time. We're going to be having some great Monday mornings, Al, on this subject pretty soon. It would be ideal for everyone. But go ahead. Excuse me.
Well, yeah, another way of adapting and adopting is on your website. Pretty much every agency has one now. But please don't allow your websites to be a static billboard. Add things to it daily or weekly and direct every client to your website for anything from local news and sports to seasonal insurance tips. Give them a reason to come back to your website. It is going to be, if not already, your primary source of communication with your client. Make sure your website is identified on everything you send to customers, on bills, on mail, on email, on business cards, on every piece of marketing and every advertising thing that you do, and promote it as the place to go for information important to your clients. And if anyone is listening in, use George. He's got a great website development team, and they have gone to the cutting edge and will give you tools that you will never think of on your own.
Yeah, some of those websites are 150 pages long, believe it or not, but they work. So
yeah, come to AgenciesOnline.com. We're probably about 5,000 pages deep.
Okay.
Another point on these things of adapting and adopting to technology. Get and keep email lists on every client. It's becoming more important to have their emails than to have their street addresses. Update those emails regularly. Email changes more often than addresses do, and we rarely know or ask or think to ask about those changes. And use the emails to communicate with your clients when weather conditions change, suggest a mass email, to wish them well on special days or holidays, or when other meaningful issues arise for which communications between agency and client would be beneficial.
I think it's vitally important. That right there. You know what? Yesterday, Al, at the convention, they asked how many agents in the room, and it was about 75 agents in the room. How many of you have a system of getting email addresses? I didn't tell you this, and there were less than half that put their hands up.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
Yet every single one of them will claim that they have everybody's address, city, street, city, and state.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to accomplish in this particular session is please become a participant in social media. You need to be considered the insurance expert willing to answer questions and lend advice. Just be careful not to give answers because of the potential E&O issues, just general advice. If they want answers, let them call you directly, and because you can become their agent. The social media is the way to familiarize your agency to younger buyers and to keep relevant with your current clients. And by the way, it is death, it is poison to try and advertise over social media. Nobody will ever tune into it again. So there's 3 or 4 ways of adapting and adopting. The next thing, and the final thing I can talk about today, is invest in people, not for their technical knowledge of insurance, but who are helper personalities, whose main goal in life is to help others. They're going to be the coaches and counselors to your client base that makes your clients want to use your services, the services of your agency, instead of seeking insurance online. There are plenty of assessments out there that can identify personality dynamics of an individual that you might hire. Take a look at the Agency Consulting Group hiring system. George, you put that together for me. It's a wonderful tool that you and your wife do, and I strongly urge everyone to either use ours or go directly to George and use that personality dynamics test. Those helper personalities can become insurance professionals. they'll be the consultants rather than the salespeople, as interested in solving a client's problem as they are in selling product. Solve the client's problems, and they'll likely use your services in return, and you will use your services forever.
You know, I want to interrupt you right there. Look at those 4 things, folks. Write them down. Put them on your wall. You know, tell everybody in the office and let them think about those things, because it's vital. I think those are really 4 great conclusions, Al.
Yeah, they sound simple, but they're really complex to implement. And frankly, they require a level of commitment that approaches religious zeal. Once you're convinced yourself as an agent that the environment is actually changing, any rational being will change to survive. Until you're convinced that changes are permanent, you'll always look backward toward the good old days, hoping for their return. But let me tell you, folks, today is the first of the good old days. You'll be much happier learning how to surf the waves than you will trying to stop those waves from coming into the shore. And that's really the gist of what I wanted to get across to the agents today, and I hope that they either pursue it with you or certainly can pursue it with me to get a feel for what they can do to make their agency stronger in the future.
Oh, I hope they do too, Al. Can you talk to them about, I mean, just tell us just a real short, what do you guys do? I mean, how's it work?
Well, we're general insurance agents to we're general insurance consultants to insurance agencies, to brokerages, wholesalers, retailers, conglomerators, anything that has to do with running an insurance business outside of the product itself. We help buy and sell and merge. We value hundreds and hundreds of agencies every single year, and I'm an expert witness in both federal and state courts on common agency practices and values. But more importantly, our primary goal through compensation programs, through hiring and training producers, through relationship selling skills, through all of the strategic planning that we do, is to help insurance agencies grow and make more money. That's what our mission statement is for our business, and we can do that for agencies anywhere of any size.
You've been doing it for 35 years, and don't forget, folks, if you haven't heard of the Pipeline, that's Al's newsletter that comes out every month. I think it's the #1 newsletter as far as I'm concerned from agency consultants that goes out to the to their customers or their friends, and Al's got thousands of people on that. If you want to know more about that, just contact Al at agencyconsulting.com, and you'll find it. Al, thanks a lot. You've done a wonderful job, as usual. I hope people will listen to this, pass it along to their people in the staff, and I hope we have an opportunity for another 35 years to keep together.
It's my pleasure, George. I don't plan to go anywhere.
Well, I hope not for me either. Well, anyhow, don't forget, folks, to go back to the email and look on the bottom. You could go to the archives and see all of these, and there's some awfully good stuff in there if you haven't seen them all. And you can go to roughnotes.com. It'll be there. It'll be on the YouTube. It's there, and look at all of them and see them all, and this will be there. So if you don't have anybody to see this today, if you want to hear this next week, tell them about the archives, will you? And don't forget to go to the Insurance Community Center's quiz flash. It's fun, takes just a few minutes, and it's fun every week. And then it's on ethics this week, Al. That makes us feel good, huh? And the next one is the E&O tip of the week, and that's always good too. So for the rest of you, I will see you next Monday morning.